to know what are things that were on your list.
I grew up with a thing about browning.
Yeah.
She had to have some shape, nice bottom around there. And with my list, what I realized is that when I would have looked for a female who was brown, a female who had good shape, a female who was educated, and all of that, may not get rid of them. I realized that it wasn't really what I needed.
So would you probably even go further to say that this kind of a person who satisfied everything on your list might have pulled you away from God a little bit? Yes!
Mercy.
If not a lot, a little bit. I mean, a big bumper. When you see that, now you're going to want to interact with that.
Wow!
When she brought in all these, now you're going to want to interact with that. They might, trouble did it.
I've heard so many females within the church, we say, yo, the man them within the church, them are wicked, them are all dog, them are all fat, and so them not deal with the man them. Yeah man, when them talk about them strong. If today, right, you were to be approached by a gentleman, would the words, a beautiful, a elegant, nearly in the nice LNG white dress.
I said that today. Oh my God. I said I look so much like LNG word. And I was like, oh my gosh, so funny that you should say that.
It's not about this list that I am working with, but it comes back down to the foundational stuff, the fundamental things that needs to be there to keep a relationship going. If those are missing, then you're gonna fail.
Pack it up. Nah, go away.
Yeah, fail.
Nah, go away.
We're back for part 2. So if you missed part 1 of this discussion with Davia, you have the opportunity to go and you can find it in the link below. Now, Davia, we touched on some things about you, your list when you're looking to date, you realize that there were some things.
We did. However, before we get any further, I want to know what are things that were on your list.
On my list, mercy.
Yeah, we're gonna hear them today. We're gonna air it out right here, right now, right?
All right. So for me, my list was this. I grew up with a thing about browning, and that is a fair complexion lady. I also had a thing about, when you're growing up, you must be educated. So a woman who goes to a good school, because those times I used to talk to females who would be going to Wolmer's. I normally date a lot of Wolmerians, So
wow, okay.
It's even a coincidence too as well that was something that happened. Yeah, literally. But I never did plan for say, oh, I go out intentionally for look for a woman.
If you say so. If you say
so. Retalk. So that was one. I think for me, the whole factor of a woman looking extremely, I would say attractive. Externally, I used to look for that as well. So my focus was really on the physique, So even to go deeper, she had to have some shape, nice bottom around there, and them little thing there. And so
she was flat. She never really took your fancy. So you never,
exactly.
get the time of the day.
She never get the time of the day, So for me, I had that as well. Of course, I was always a God-fearing man, so a woman who is a part of church, and my church, because I grew up not having, women who were out there in the world. Or should I say, not a part of my denomination. I grew up not dating women of that sort. So I only had one experience of that, and of course, it wouldn't have lasted because we're unequally yoked. And even so, within the same Adventist church, because I'm going to touch on that in this video.
I was about to ask you.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that because we can't be unequally yoked within the same denomination,
Definitely.
And I've experienced that. So with my list, what I realized is that when I would have looked for a female who was brown, a female who had good shape, a female who was educated, and all of that, may not get rid of them. You understand? And
Rightfully so.
in this case means that I got all of the things on the list, or some of the things on the list,
but
it wasn't sufficient for me within the relationship, right? So it never, or even from my end, I saw it and I got it, but then I realized that it wasn't really what I needed.
So would you probably even go further to say that this kind of a person who satisfied everything on your list might have pulled you away from God a little bit.
Mercy.
If not a lot, a little bit. I mean, a big bumper, when you see that, now you're going to want to interact with that. When she brought in all these, no, you're going to want to interact with that. And then, you know, that they
Trouble.
might, you know what I'm saying? Trouble did it.
Yeah,
So would you say that? What would you say?
All right. So for me, I can recall one specific time that I had, right? And I remember I was at church at that time, and this individual was one which wasn't a part of the Adventist faith. They weren't attending physical church either, right? So just a flashback before that, I would have been told that, you know, it feels as if I am forcing the individual to actually go to church, you know. But they had their relationship with God, their time spent and devotion, etc. But because I was so rooted in my church and I wanted to have that person come to church as well,
yeah.
you know, it came across to them at the time as if, hey, I'm forcing them. So they felt a bit, you know, reluctant to say, hey, I'm going to come. However, one day, coming to the church point now, I was at church and we were supposed to go out on a date. And I'm like, whoa. Boy, God, it's the only time the person I'm available, because them normally work differently, but them get that Saturday off. And I decided to say, all right, I'm gonna go. Whilst there at church, I felt inside just it not feel good.
No feel good.
I say, oh, this is my day when I know someone normally do this.
Right.
And I went ahead. I was on the date. It felt good. You know what I mean? Because of course, I'm my type. This is what me actually attracted to and thing. Felt really good. And it only came to the point where after everything finished, I'm like, I question myself.
Right.
Will I be able to sustain this throughout the rest of my relationship with this person? Because when I have church, they are not going to want to come to church or be there.
Yeah.
And I am going to have to be compromising and leaving church to go on these different dates, you know, or other different settings, and it's gonna then lead me away from God. So that was one of my closest, you know, I would say, experience to feeling as if somebody who wasn't a part of my faith would have actually led me away a bit from God, you know. And it wouldn't even be led me from God. It would be like pretty much having me to, I wouldn't even say compromise, but having me to go outside of the will of God, you know, to try to sustain that. There's a saying that anything you attain outside of the will of God, you'd have to do to keep it, you know? So you'd have to continuously doing what you did to attain that.
To keep up with it.
To keep it.
Yeah.
You know, and that for me was something I said, no.
Was it a difficult decision for you to say no and stop, or did it, as I think it would, take some time to eventually
die out in terms of the relationship?
Yeah.
Funny enough, you know, that young miss was the one who said that, hey, Jay, you know, I don't think I can do this again. You know,
good for her.
Yeah, and coming back to part one, where we would have spoken about the list and everything.
Right.
When you were saying that tall, you know, and you had a preference with the dark, you know, chocolate mem, it's the same kind of experience. Muscular, tall, and dark guy was what the individual was interested in, you know, and I wasn't of any of those, you know, qualities. And so I looked at it and I'm like, all right, so you have those as your preference. And due to that, you pretty much would have mentioned that to me, right? And due to that, again, the person would have been in a spot to say, hey, I am not interested in this anymore because you're not really my type.
Right.
You understand? So it was from their end, because I was all into them. It was all about me being so happy that this person who is my type is actually in my life now. Me. But the person mentioned that, you know, they were just trying something out of the usual, you know, and thought that it would have given them a different feeling, but it never.
At least she was
But
honest
yeah.
sooner than later instead of stringing you along and then,
Mm-hmm.
you'd go down on one knee and then she'd say, no, because X, Y, Z. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I was really appreciative of it. I won't lie.
yeah,
And to this day, I must say, you big up yourself.
yeah,
We have such a good relationship, just the same. And I appreciate people who are real. People who keep it genuine rather than beating around the bush. Them just tell me straight.
absolutely.
But touching on the point of unequally yoked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the first video, part one, I would have touched on, you dating, right? And if you had any experience within the Adventist church, right? Well, it's what I want to get into now, actually. So, within the Adventist church, I want to know, did you ever, based on your list that you had in that time, did you ever meet anyone who had those qualities?
In the church back at that time, I mean, yeah, I think I did. Think I did. But it didn't really work out.
Never worked out?
Yeah, the person was already taken, so I couldn't.
Oh, they were already taken.
Yeah.
Mama, you do
They
the
were
right
taken.
thing. You take him before she come on. You know what I mean? Get her life disrupted. So
That's crazy.
yes. So
Uh-huh.
they were already taken. So you never had any other experience with anyone who would have met your list back then. And if you want to know what list it is, you'd have to watch part one
Right.
to know the list that she's speaking of.
Yeah, but back then, no, I didn't. Within the church, I didn't find somebody else who met the criteria on that list, and so I was like, okay, well, and then also I wasn't in Jamaica, so I was like, okay, well then, guess what I'm gonna do now? I'm just gonna see who it is that speaks the language that I speak, and basically have other things on this list. I mean, they've got to be a Christian. So they would not have necessarily been an SDA Christian, but a Christian, And then, I mean, that was good and dandy up to a point until we got to certain discussions where I realized that, yes, us being Christians, that's good and dandy. But then if we were both my faith, then these things that we disagree on, we would already have got that locked.
True.
So, yeah.
True. And wait, we're gonna say something else?
Well, eventually the relationship, it lasted for a good while, but as I said, it lasted for a good while. So,
Yeah, the operative word, lasted. And for you realize that it's not about this list that I am working with, but it comes back down to the foundational stuff, the
Absolutely.
fundamental things that needs to be there
Yeah.
to keep a relationship going. If those are missing, then you're gonna
Pack
actually
it
fail.
up. Pack it up. Now go work.
Yeah, I feel it.
Now go work.
But I've heard so many females within the church, we say,
Same
yo,
way.
them man them within the church, them are wicked, them are all dog, them are all fat, and so them not
a
deal
bit
with the man
strong.
them. Yeah man, when them a
That's a
talk
bit
about them strong. Yeah man, when them a talk about them strong, and I always
Okay.
want to talk to a female for understand, if that's only if you have had any experience, of that sort. But them say, yo, the man them within the church, especially the Adventist church,
Yeah.
them a old dog, them worse than the man them out in the world. What's your thought of
Well,
that?
I've heard of stories of, persons giving their own experience where that was true, but I have not necessarily had that experience. Yeah, I mean, I was dating one individual and it didn't work out, but I'm not going to say, oh, in my dog or whatever, just because we were not best fit for each other. I have to be honest about that. If that's just the case, it's just the case, But that's the only experience I've had, and it was very, very short. So the little that I've come to learn of the person, I'm not gonna badmouth him, but, and this is not me saying but as in I'm gonna badmouth him anyway. No, I'm not gonna badmouth him. Therefore, I can't say, oh, they're this or they're that compared to persons who are only Christians, as in not SDA Christians, or persons who are not Christians at all, because I don't have that first-hand experience to be
Yeah.
able to speak about that.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So, what I want to know is if today, right, you were to be approached by a gentleman, would the words, "Hey baby, you look nice. Hey beautiful. Hey elegant," nearly in the nice LNG white dress.
Oh
You know,
I said that today. Oh my gosh. I said I look so much like LNG Ward. And I was like, oh my gosh, so funny that you should say that. Hilarious. I'm like, no, this woman, she is super modest. And the fact that all I can see are like this and I look a neck and just my feet. I'm like, wow, this seems to me so much like, anyway, moving on. Moving on. Hilarious that you should say that,
yeah,
Japan.
man.
Crazy,
Yo,
crazy.
there are a lot of times because
Yeah.
some men, what we realize is that women within the church, some of them they don't know how to dress modest, but not look as if they're old lady in their young age.
Right.
And so they may not approach you based on that kind of look, but then you want a man to get married to, but you carry yourself in such a way that men may be like, she looks stuck up, she look like she not go, But then people say if you're looking for a good woman of value and standard, that shouldn't be what you're focusing on.
Right.
True.
True.
And so people have all sort of different opinions, but I digress. So we're coming back to the fact, if a man should approach you with that, say, hey, young lady, boy, in an LNG white dress, you look really beautiful.
I might laugh at that, honestly. I might laugh at that, but if you're going to come to me saying all these things,
would it capture your attention?
I would keep walking if I'm walking, and if I'm not, I'm just not going to acknowledge you unapologetically. Yeah, no.
But it would flatter a lot of females. So
it would flatter.
Wonder why it not gonna do that for you? Why you gonna continue to walk?
No, I mean, first of all, I know how I look. I know that I look beautiful, fearful and wonderfully made, all those things. Again, it's not like I'm trying to be cocky or anything like that, So I know these things already.
Yeah.
So when you come to me, you're like, hey, babes, my level like I cook food or whatever it is that you want to say. If it's hilarious, I might chuckle a bit, but I'm not going to acknowledge that you're speaking to me. So that's what the outcome would be. I mean, if I didn't know you, and that's how you initiated the conversation, you think that I'm rude, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm simply just not going to respond to that. Why am I going to answer that? Because if I do respond to that, positively, like, hey, hi, what's up? You're going to feel as if, that's what she responds to. So as if I talk to her, baby love, don't do it. Don't do it.
So, what ways do you think are some approachable, respectable ways that some men can approach women?
I might be old school, but say good afternoon, say good evening, say hello, beautiful. That's simple, but it works. If I say browning or whatever, I mean, you can say what you want to say. I'm not forcing you, but if you want me to respond to you, you have to be respectful. I'm not saying don't be creative, because if you're lame...
See, next thing too, we can't satisfy them, brothers. We can't. Me try help put but boy.
No. Hear me out. You have to be creative. That's one. But you have to be respectful at the same time. Now, if you can't be both of them at once, that's a bare minimum. I'm sorry.
So no bare minimum thing around here would work.
No, sir.
So you have to come and be respectful and creative at the same time. So you have to know how to carry that kind of swing to the thing.
Right. Exactly.
I feel you.
And if a lady was going to try to approach you, like actually approach you, what is it that you'd expect from her? So that she doesn't...
What a question.
No, I'm going to ask it. You're going to be on the hot seat today. You're going to be on the hot seat today.
I like it. Without a problem. So if she approaches me, because to before I answer that, right? Some women, they may come across as they're the one that's pursuing
the guy.
You know what I mean? The guy. And for me, if I feel pursued, like you're trying to say, hey, God tell me say you're my husband.
Me, I look you in this.
Yeah. And I feel like my back, see all of this and more. Hey boy, you're blind, like see this.
Wow.
You know what I mean? If I'm approaching that manner, then red flags and antenna go fly up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that is for sure a big no-no for me. But how do I expect a woman to approach me? If I see, because trust me, I get them, the eye contacts. Like if she's giving me an eye contact, she comes over to me, she's like, hi. you smell nice, you look good, and I've been admiring you. You carry yourself
People
very
say that?
well. Yes, man. Women say that.
I've been admiring you.
I've been
That's
admiring
very
you.
forward.
Mm?
I would never. Let me not say never.
Well,
But
you
okay.
see, you never know
Go
unless you
ahead.
find a man there, because sometimes you can have a man where they out there
I've
where
been admiring you.
I go catch that woman.
Yeah, of course.
So, for me, I can say that I appreciate when a woman would come and just say that, you dress very well, you carry yourself very well, you speak well, I've been
Complimenting
admiring,
you.
compliment me.
All right.
And if I find her attractive, then I'll be intrigued now to say, well, let's see where this conversation can go. And then from there,
Yeah.
who knows, we could exchange contact and communicate as, individuals who are going to come out of the acquaintance phase into
So
friendship.
compliment him, ladies. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, and who knows? You
Don't
shoot
be
your
too
shot.
forward.
You shoot your shot.
Yeah, don't be too forward though.
I mean, if you come straight up and you say, hey, I have been admiring you and I like you, I'd like to get to know you. If I like you in terms of off the bat, see you and I'm attracted to you just by face value.
Yeah. Then
The
they have a foot through the
conversation,
door already.
yeah, the
Oh, okay.
conversation that we have after that can then, it can either let me know, decide if I want to say, all right, cool, I'm attracted to your brain and I want to go further in knowing you.
That brain attraction. Tell me more.
All right. I like to have really good constructive conversations, and these depth in conversations really allows for me to learn.
Not just a hi, what's up, how you doing?
Yeah, that's right.
It should be able to go beyond
Suppose
that.
you can go beyond that,
Absolutely.
right? And you mentioned it earlier, where you brought the scenario in part 1 with the ice cream. If there is a case where it comes down and it boils down to one that has to be chosen, both parties have different flavors that they love, right? But you have to select one. How would you deal with that? Scenarios, life situations. There was one that I was asked by a friend recently, and I'm like, I never think about that. Those are the things I'm talking about. The question was, what if you, such a happy man, ready and you were all excited for marriage, you now have a child with your wife, and your wife is now having, post, she's pregnant, so she's having like post-traumatic stress and so forth, because she's now pregnant, right? How it is that you are going to deal with that, where she no longer wants to have intercourse with you, she no longer feels you, she's just all about the child, she's regretting being pregnant, because all of this now makes her feel fat and, bloated and everything, and her self-esteem is being hit, how are you going to deal with that? And when that question was thrown at me, I'm like, never think about that.
Well, it gets real.
Yeah. It was like a reality check in the moment when I just have to start think deeper. And I have to start to say, wow, what would I do if I was in that scenario? If I was in that case, would I be able to say, am I gonna stick around with this woman and fight it through?
You ought to do that. She is your wife.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is a thought that came to mind. I'm like,
You
knowing
better.
me.
You just had a chat with her. You better.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm enough man out there right now. Them would say, boy, if she want for this and she want that, me I find another woman. Or, me I actually just lower her alone. But for me, how would I deal with that situation? Is one, because I'm a person who loves to have conversation and communicate, I'd like to know, what can I do to help you? If it's a case of her feeling bloated and, cause the pregnancy thing, it actually makes some women look, like a better word, fat, right? I'm not gonna try to nice it up. They make them look fat, and because of that, they don't feel or look pretty to them, right? If I can be able to bring Jim home to her, which is being there in the moment, and we say, hey, we're going to actually work out together.
In addition to that,
make
though,
a difference.
Instead of, because she knows that she is fat and she already doesn't like how she's looking now, etc. So maybe instead of just from the get-go bringing the gym to her, you could still, reaffirm that love that you have for her.
There you go.
Let her know that, hey, yes, we know that you've put on a couple of pounds, but I find you beautiful, whether you're going to be at this size or that size. I love you,
There you go.
and you're still you. So you're going to have to reaffirm that love.
Yes.
Instead of just bringing the gym, because she might still want to slap you across the side of your face.
Definitely.
If you're just say, all right, here, work out, let's do this together. You have to probably just calm down a little bit and say, babe, I still love you.
Yes.
No matter what. And let her not just hear that, but again, go back to the love languages, love upon her, pamper her, let her know that, okay, she has a right to be feeling like this. And you're not just trying to bring a solution, you're still here to love her today.
Just the
And
same.
then you could ask her what it is that she wants. Suppose she's not ready to hit the gym as it. Suppose she still, maybe for another day or two, would like to have a little pity party for herself. Okay, yeah, but then when we're done with that phase, let's move on from that.
Yeah.
So that you can get back to how it is that you want to look and feel, and we can get back on, on track together. Yeah. Don't just throw the gym in her face.
Very important
please.
point. Very important point, because the affirmation part of it was one that I mentioned as well, in the conversation, because I'm the type of person to, gives that word of affirmation and encouragement. And so I know for sure that that is something that she wouldn't lack, especially in that time. However, sometimes you as the man, especially us as men, we go through so many things on a day-to-day basis. We have to be holding down things, and to have a female who is going through so many other different things internally, she might not even speak up and tell you, but you have to be figuring it out. Because sometimes some females are like, you're not supposed to know this already, you're not see it, and there are so much thinking that we as men, we are mind readers.
Wow.
You see me? And so those things sometimes it frustrates a man.
Absolutely.
He don't know what go on, and you not talk to him. And so it puts him in a spot where he just get frustrated and him don't want to talk no more, him don't want to do nothing else.
Because
no
everything
more.
that he tries to do is the wrong thing.
It's the wrong thing, exactly.
But still, she won't tell you.
So what if
that don't make no sense.
I do all of that which you just said?
Yeah.
Affirm her, try to find some different ways to give her.
I have the perfect answer for you, but go ahead.
What next do you think the man should do?
Firstly.
And that is the number one, of course. That is a given. That definitely.
But then you're gonna have to be perseverant. I mean, it's not gonna go away overnight, this feeling that she has, And I mean, I'm not saying, well, let me just talk. What you did as the guy was to basically just give her the cell that she needs, and she is the one who the baby was created in her body. She had to give or bring forth life from her body. I mean, yeah, you were probably, hopefully, you were there to hold her hand through that literally on the day. But then afterwards, it's her body that goes through all these changes, whether she likes it or not. It's happening. It has happened, and now she has to live with that. Sometimes when a person's, after they give birth, like months later, over a year later, their tummy is still not how it was
before.
Right. And so, yes, that might chisel away at her self-esteem, her self-confidence. She might not have that smile the way she used to. She might not be that optimistic person, which was one of the things that you were super attracted to her for. And so it's just something that you both will have to work through together. With God, of course.
At the center of it all.
Yeah. And it's way easier said than done. I know that. So that's why you're going to have to reevaluate. Do you still choose this person? You're going to have to choose her every day. And let her know that you choose her every single day until she's out of that rut and is more herself again.
Yeah, and it's a process, It's definitely a process, and I believe in those real life situations because it's happening out there, and people are going through it. And even before marriage and so forth, people experience some of these tough things, A person died, maybe the father, or the mother, or whosoever, of your partner. How can you help that person to accept it in such a way that it doesn't affect the relationship? Because so many times a person is all good, but somebody is so close to them, so valued and cherished, they are no more in their space. And due to that, it affects how they relate to you in the relationship. How are you going to sit through all of that You
That's
know,
a tough thing to deal with.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And so those kind of real life situations are some of the things, coming back to your question, that I look at and I say, if I can have these conversations with individuals, with a female, those are some of the things that helps me to know that, yeah, man, I can actually go further.
All right.
You know, so I try to look at those kind of conversations, passing just a little hi, hello, all of that, and make sure that I can have some more substance from the conversations. You know, so that's really what I believe, you know, will make me attracted to a female intellectually. You know, coming back to your question, you know, so look at how it 360 came back
Full
around.
circle.
Full circle, you know. So that's how I would deal with that, you know. So
Fair enough.
females, if they're out there, you know, if you're out there and you know what I mean, yeah, the finger, it not put on nothing yet, because you know, I mean, I don't want to put it on the wife finger first, so yeah.
Okay.
So I, just before we wrap up, right, I know you're doing so much right now for yourself, right? What it is that you have new cooking up that people can look forward to from your end?
Okay. Well, I have a podcast, the Davia Peart podcast. So initially I was gonna do it on Instagram, but then I decided now let me just mainly use perhaps YouTube and some other platforms, and then I could share it on Instagram. But for now, one of the main things I'm doing is that podcast. So I do like to do a lot of things at the same time, but then I've noticed that, hey, it's better for you to do one thing, get it going, and then move on to something else and get it going, instead of getting everything, started at the same time and not really getting anywhere in anything at all. So the podcast, that is it.
That's the newest thing on your list right now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So just to get an idea, you know, what will your podcasts be around? A lot of people have podcasts these days, but what will make your podcast unique?
All right. So first of all, my personality is going to be there. Outside of that, though, I will be talking about, I don't want to say everything under the sun, but mainly things that are important to me. Yes, God is important to me. You'll see that coming through in the podcast. Also, family, health, voice, and service. So service to others. When I say voice, I mean I do appreciate the fact that I have a voice that I can use to speak to others and perhaps teach you something, sing, worshiping God with it, etc. So, yeah. And I'll be talking about things like maybe traveling, business, but the 5 main things are the 5 first things that I listed. Those will mainly be what you can hear about on my podcast.
The focus points.
Absolutely.
Boy, it was good chopping it up with you today, Davia.
It really
it's
was.
always a joy. Boy, I'm not lying. This was a really nice conversation.
It was good.
Yeah.
Eye-opening.
Yeah, it was. I mean, these conversations, we have behind closed doors, but it was good to know that it can be shared to the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so many times, some of these conversations, they're had with friends and so forth, but other persons may be out there who may have the same kind of questions.
Yeah.
Going through it, they don't know what to do. And, our different recommendations or how we would deal with it based on opinions.
Could be useful to them.
Could be useful to them. So once more again, we're going to have more of these conversations, of course.
For sure.
But this is just our first time having, you being introduced to Davia. And as mentioned, it's a 2-part video, or part 1, you can find it. And you'll see the link up top. And you can go and you can review it, right? And if you have friends or family or anyone who is not yet a part of this Wealthy Royalty channel, please join the amount of subscribers that we have here. I have looked in my analytics and I realized that there is greater amount of persons unsubscribed than those who are subscribed. Yeah, it's gonna be that way.
Just tap the button. You lose nothing at all.
That's right. And the more and more you have this channel being shared with others, it's the more I'll go for guests that for sure will give us the knowledge, and information that will be useful and helpful to our lives. So thank you once more again for sticking around. It's your boy, Mr. Wealthy Royalty, back again with another quality. And for sure, we'll see you on the next video. Yeah, man, stay blessed and we'll talk. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, much love, man, and blessings every time.
Always.